Hello friends, welcome to my channel. This is CA Raki Agarwal. Today's topic is related to Indian Accounting Standard 24, which deals with related party disclosures. What disclosures we are going to give in this standard? What are the requirements of this standard? This standard requires the disclosure of all the transactions, all the financial, non-financial transactions of the reporting entity with if the transaction is made by the person with the reporting entity who is the related party, and also with the another reporting entity who is a related party. Like if the company who is a reporting entity makes a transaction with its subsidiaries, joint ventures, associates, then this standard requires that disclosures in the financial statement. So let's start. Before we proceed, we just give a brief of the what we will discuss in this standard. The content of these standards are the purpose and introduction of the related party transaction. What was the purpose of this standard? Just we give the introduction of that. Now the definition of related party. Who are related party and who are not the related party. Then the disclosure requirements of the related parties. What kind of disclosures are required in the financial statement? How to give the disclosures in the financial statement? Then who are exempt from the disclosure requirements? And then the difference between Ind AS 24 and AS 8. Firstly, we will discuss about the purpose and introduction. What was the purpose of these related party transaction? What was the purpose of this standard? The purpose of this standard is to promote transparency in the financial, because most of the companies cannot operate their business single-handed. They need to incorporate joint venture subsidiaries, associates in order to handle their business, because they want to extend their business, so they want to create subsidiaries, joint venture, associates, so they will handle their business because of the diversified nature of the business. And if the company has making any transaction with them, for that purpose the disclosure requirement is required. Most of the companies cannot operate their business as a single entity because of the diversified nature of the business. Tata Group is having a different business, like they have a steel business, they have a power business, they have a motor business, they have a insurance business, they have a IT business, they have a technology business, they have a hotel business. So they extended their hands in many folds. So in order to handle that, they had incorporated many subsidiaries, joint ventures and associates to carry out their operations. And there may be a situation when there is a transaction with each of the entity, and that transaction is called a related party transaction. Related party transaction is required by every act, every legal structure of Indian acts. This transaction is required by Income Tax Act, by Company Law Act, by FEMA Act, by SEBI Act. Related party transaction is in every act of our Indian legal structure. This is not new. So why the company need to disclose the related party transaction? Because these related party transactions are of suspicious nature. There is a doubt in the mind of the reader whether the transaction is not beneficial for the interest of the company. In order to clarify their suspicious doubt, these disclosures are required in the financial. So if an entity, suppose this is to be explained by example, if an entity has given loan to its subsidiaries, joint venture and associates, and thus it is the related party transaction, because an entity, the holding company, has given loan to its subsidiary, joint venture and associate, then it's a related party transaction, which give rise to the doubt in the mind of the readers, shareholders. What doubt? Whether the loan is given to the group company at a below market rate of interest. The rate of interest is beneficial to the company. What was the purpose of giving loan? Whether the interest is collected on regular basis or not. Whether the loan is repayable on demand or not. What outstanding balance confirmation matches with both the parties. Loan is given for long-term purpose or short-term. These kind of doubts creates in the mind of the readers and also the investors and also the shareholders. So in order to clarify their doubts, the disclosures are required to be given in the financial statement as per Ind AS 20. And if there is any transaction with the foreign subsidiaries, then that transaction must be at an arm length price. But the arm length price requirement is as per Income Tax Act. There is no such requirements as per Ind AS. Who are related party? What is the definition of related party as per Ind AS 20? What covers under related party transaction? Any transaction which a reporting entity do with person and another reporting entity who is the joint venture, subsidiary and associate. Means any reporting entity do any transaction with a person or another reporting entity who is the joint venture, subsidiary and associate of that reporting entity, then they had to disclose their transactions in the financials. What was the definition of person as per Ind AS 24? Person means individuals. And what kind of transaction a person does with the reporting entity, so it needs to disclose who are the persons as per Ind AS 24. A person is related. Who are the related person as per this standard? A person is related to reporting entity who has control or jointly control over the reporting entity. Control or jointly control means more than 50% holding. If as per old standard, if the company or if a person is holding more than 50% shares in a company, then he has a full control. But as per Ind AS, the definition is different. What was the definition as per Ind AS? We will discuss. A person is also related to reporting entity if a person having a significant influence over the reporting entity. What do you mean by significant influence? Significant influence means influence if the person is holding more than 20% of the shares. But he take part in the meetings, board meetings. He can sit in the board meeting. He can express his opinion or does not decide. He has the power to give his opinion but does not have a power to take decisions. Like associate, joint venture, they have a significant influence over the entity but they does not take decisions. And the KMPs. If a person is the key managerial person of the reporting entity and of the reporting entity or the parent of the reporting entity, then all are included in the related definition of the related. And what was the definition of the close member of that person? We will discuss step by step. So firstly we will discuss the definition of control, definition of significant influences and definition of key managerial personals along with the example. So what is the meaning of control over the reporting entity? If according to the old standard, control means those person who are holding more than 50% of the shares in the reporting entity. The person who is holding more than 50% of the shares in the reporting entity, then that person is having a control over the reporting entity. Like Mr. R is holding more than 50% of the shares in R Limited. So Mr. R is having a control power as per old standard. But according to the definition of Ind AS 1010, control means ability to direct relevant activities of the ability to direct the relevant activities and operations of the entity and the exposures to variable returns, that is the profit from the entity. What was the exposure, what was the profit from the entity they get, and how they operate the entity, how they control the entity, relevant activities of the entity. They have the ability to do that. This is the meaning of the control as per Ind AS 20. This is to be explained by example in Adani Enterprises Limited. Mr. Gautam Bhai Santilal Adani and Gautam Bhai Santilal Adani and Srimati Preeti Gautam Adani have making a trust of, on behalf of Gautam Adani Family Trust, they have a shareholding of in Adani Enterprises along with another trust is there SB Adani Family Trust, they hold 57.28% of shareholding. So they have a control over the Adani enterprises. They have the ability to firstly they have more than 50% of shareholding. Secondly, they have the ability to direct the relevant activities of the entity and have the power to take decisions. This is the example of the control because they have more than 50% of shareholding, so they have the controlling power, and they have Mr. Gautam Bhai Shantilal has having the ability to direct the relevant activities of the entity. They have the power to make decisions. They have the power to decide. They take decisions for the benefit of the company. What they says, the company will apply that. They will think for the holding perspectives and as well as for which is beneficial for the subsidiaries also. This is the meaning of control along with the examples. Definition of joint control over the reporting entity. Joint control means which is covered under Ind AS 111. Joint control means two or more parties. Control and arrangements. Arrangements means if they go into a joint operations, if they go into a joint venture and make if two or more party get together and make a one joint venture and they operate that, after that they will share their profits. So these are the joint control means if the two more parties decides together, and for that unanimous decision is to be required. Only one party cannot take this. It is decided by both the parties in the venture, in the arrangements. So this could be in the form of joint operation and joint venture. In joint control, unanimous decision is to be taken. Cannot take decision by one party. It will taken by all the parties who has a control over the arrangement. Even if one party is not there, the decision cannot be taken and resolution is not. This is to be explained by example. There is a joint arrangements which is announced on this Friday only between Acer and Mittal Nippon Steel. For what purpose? For the infrastructure of ports and power in Gujarat. For a building of terminals at Hazari, Gujarat, they join hands and created a joint venture partnership of 50-50%. So this is the practical example which I am discussing. So this is the practical example which I am discussing. Now what is the definition of significant influence over the report? Significant influence covered under Ind AS 20 means any person holding more than 20% of the shareholdings in the reporting entity as per old standard. A person holding more than 20% of shares in the reporting entity has the power to express his opinion, means who has the power to express his opinion in the board meeting but does not have the power to take decisions. He has the power to express opinion but does not have the power to take decisions. In significant influence, they have the power. The person has the power to go and attend the meeting, to express his knowledge, to express his opinion, but they don't have the power to decide. They don't have the power to take decisions. Final decision is on those persons who has having a control or joint. Now comes the key management personals. Who are the key management personals over the reporting entity? The key management personals mean those persons having the authority, having the power and responsibility for planning, directing and controlling the activities of the entity, whether directly or indirectly, including any director, whether exclusive or otherwise, of that entity. Means any company means key managerial personnel means who the person who having the power to take decision, power to direct, power to control the activities of the entity, whether directly or indirectly, then that person should be a KMP. KMP includes the whole-time director, chief financial officer, chief executive officer, and any other person also becomes a KMP who have the power to direct or control the activities of the entity, where the authority and responsibility for planning, directing and controlling the activity. This is to be explained by example. Suppose Mr. Mukesh Ambani is the chairman and promoter of Reliance Industries, and he is holding 12% of the shares in Reliance Industries Limited, and he has having the ability to direct. He has the ability to direct the relevant activities, whether directly or indirectly, and has the ability to expose the variable returns of profit from the entity. He is the key KMP of the Reliance Industries. Any decision taken by the Mukesh Ambani, Mr. Mukesh D. Ambani, will impact not only the Reliance Industries but its subsidiaries, associates and joint ventures. So his decision has that much power कि whatever decision he takes, it will impact not only the holding company but also all the subsidiaries, joint ventures and associates. It will affect his subsidiaries, joint ventures and if it will affect his subsidiaries, joint venture and associate, it will indirectly affect the Mr. Mukesh Ambani. So he has that much power, but he is the KMP of RIL. But suppose Mr. X, Mr. X is the director of the Reliance Jio Infocom Limited and has taken decision for the Reliance Jio Infocom, which is beneficial for the Reliance Jio Infocom Limited, but not beneficial for the Reliance Industries Limited. So whether this decision is passed, it will impact the Reliance Industries and it will indirectly impact the profit of Mr. Mukesh Ambani. So whether the decision taken by Mr. X is beneficial for the industries, for the company, whether he has that much power to control the activities of the company. No, Mr. X can only take decision for Reliance Jio Infocom, but not as a whole for holding and all the subsidiaries. So he is not the key managerial part. But suppose Mr. X, the director of Reliance Jio Infocom Limited, has taken any decision which will not impact RLI because Jio Infocom Limited is the subsidiary of RLI. This is the definition of the person who is having control or jointly control the reporting entity, who has a significant influences and who are the key managerial person. Definition of a close member of the family of that person. Who are the close family member of that person? The close family member of that persons are the one who may be expected to influence or be influenced by that person in dealing with the entity. Like suppose Mr. Mukesh Ambani has taken decision for RIL, though it is influenced by his wife Neeta Ambani, is influenced by his son Akash Ambani and Anant Ambani. So his decision is influenced by his family members. If he takes any decision, that decision is influenced by his family members. So close family member of that person is also included. The close family member of that person are those who are expected to influence or be influenced by that person in dealing with the entities. It includes that person's children, means person's children, Mukesh Ambani's children, spouse, domestic partner, brother, sister, father and mother. Children of that person's spouse, means children of that person's spouse or domestic partners, and dependent, those who are dependent on that person, Mr. Ambani, those who are dependent on that person or that person's spouse, not only on that person, the person's spouse or the domestic partner, not restricted to blood relation. Those who are dependent on them, they are also included in the close family members of that person. This is the definition of close family members, and definition of parent means a parent is an entity that controls one or more entity and present consolidated financials. Control the entity and present the financial statement. A company who controls the subsidiary, joint venture, associate, that company is considered as a parent company, and the parent company is required to prepare or present the consolidated financial state. Now this is to be explained by example. Suppose Mr. R holds 90%, 94% of the shareholding in R Limited. Whether Mr. R is related party in the R Limited, does not hold any other form of shares, whether he is a related party in the R Limited. Answer is yes, because here he is holding 94% of the shareholding in R. Mrs. R is the wife of Mr. A, who holds 94% of shareholding in A Limited. Does not hold any other forms of shares. Is Mrs. R is the related party to in A Limited? Answer is yes, because he holds 94% of shareholdings in A Limited. Mr. S is the director of A Limited. Being a member of KMP of A Limited, is Mr. S is the related to A Limited. We had defined the KMP who has the ability to control the activities of the company, who has more than 50% of who has a controlling ability, who has a exposure to unprofits, then that KMP is the related party to the company. Then answer is yes. Mr. A is the director of H Limited. He has a subsidiary of S Limited. If Mr. A is the director of holding company and he has a subsidiary, that is S Limited. Whether Mr. A is related to S Limited. S Limited is the holding company to whom Mr. A is the director, and S Limited is a subsidiary company. So whether the Mr. A, who is the director of the holding company, is related party of S Limited? Answer is yes. How? Because S Limited is the subsidiary of holding company, and any decision taken by Mr. A, it will impact not only the holding company but also the subsidiary. So he will be the related party to the S Limited. Now, relationship of reporting entity with another reporting. We had discussed about the person. We had covered the definition of a person. Then we are covering what was the relationship of reporting entity with the another reporting entity, who are covered under the another reporting entity. Suppose one entity is there and another reporting entity are the member of the same group. They must be the member of the same group, which means that each parent, subsidiary and fellow subsidiary is related to other. Means suppose they are the member of the same group, then they becomes the related party. If they are making any transaction within the same group, then that transaction is the related party transaction. This is to be explained by example. Suppose P Limited having a 4 subsidiary, P1, R1, S1, G1. Whether they are related to each other? Answer is yes, because P Limited is the holding company and it has 4 subsidiaries, and as per the definition, they are in the same group. Same group includes subsidiary and fellow subsidiary. Whether the entity and the member of the same group, which means the parent, subsidiary and fellow. So they are the member. P Limited is the holding company and its subsidiaries are P1, R1, S1, G1. All are related with each other because they are the member in the same group. This is to be explained via chart. Whether P2 is related to S1. Who is P2? We will firstly explain the chart. P Limited is the holding company and he has 4 subsidiaries. P1, R1, S1 and G1. These are the 4 subsidiaries. And he has P1 is also having a step down subsidiary, that is P2. And S1 is also having a step down subsidiary, that is S2. R1 does not having any subsidiary, G1 does not have any. So my question is whether P2, who is the step down subsidiary of P1, whether P2 is related party of S1, because P Limited and P1, R1, S1, G1 are in the same group, and subsidiaries include fellow subsidiaries. So yes, as the step down subsidiaries are also the member of the group of which the parent subsidiary and fellow subsidiaries belong. So these are fellow subsidiaries and the reporting entity is the S1 Limited. So they are related parties because they include subsidiaries, parent, and the subsidiaries and the fellow subsidiaries. So they are the related party. P1, R1, S1 and G1 are also related party of P Limited because they are in the same group. Now the another definition of related another entity is, suppose one entity is an associate or joint venture of other entity. That we had discussed about the entity who is a subsidiary who in the same group, who is the subsidiary and fellow subsidiary. Now, if the one entity is an associate or joint venture of other entity, means if one entity is an associate or joint venture of other entity, or an associate or joint venture of the member of the group, means if one entity is an associate or joint venture of other entity, or an associate or joint venture of the member of the group of which the other entity is a member. This is to be explained by example. Suppose H Limited is the holding company. He has three subsidiaries, S1, S2 and S. Then S1 is having a subsidiary, S4. Then and S2 is having a joint venture, J1, and S3 having a joint venture, J2. S4 is also having a step down associate, A1, and A1 is also having a step down associate, A2. And S3 is having a step down joint venture J2, which is also having a step down joint venture J3. This is the chart. Now we will discuss step by step whether they are related to each other or not. Whether these members are related with each other, explain with reason. J1 and S3. Who is J1? J1 is the joint venture of subsidiary 2, and J1 is related with, what they are asking, J1 is related with S3. Whether J1 is related with S, whether they are related party. So in this definition it is said that joint venture of the member of the group of which the other entity is a member. Means suppose here the member of the group, who are the members? Holding subsidiary S1, S2 and S3 are the member of one group, and of the member of the group. J1 is the joint venture of S2 of which the S3 is also the member. So they are related party. As per the definition, they are related party. Yes, they are related party because joint venture, that is J1, is the member of the group S2, is the member of the group of S2 of which the other entity is also member, of which S3 is also the member. So they are related party. J1 and S3 are related party. Now A1 and S2. A1, that is the associate of S4. Who is the associate of S4? And A1 and S2. A1 and S2 are related party. Whether they are related party. So it is said that yes, they are related party. How they are related party? Because S4 is the member of the group. S4 is means is the subsidiary, and the member definition of the same group means the parent, the subsidiary and the fellow subsidiary. And S4 is the member of that group of which the A1 is the associate. So in this definition, associate of the member of the group of which the other entity is also the member, and S2 is also the member of the that entity. So they are related party. Yes, they are related party because associate, that is A1, of the member of the group S4, of which the other entity is also the member, that is S. Now S4 and J2, with S4 and J2 are related party, whether S4 and J2 are related party. S4 is the member of the group and J2 is the joint venture of the member of the group of which the other is also the member. So they are related party. Now S2, J3, S2, J3. S2, J3 are related party. S2 and J3 are not related party. Why they are not related party? Because S2 is the member of the group, but J3 is not the member of the group. J3 is the joint venture of J2, not the joint venture of the member of the group S3. So it's not a related party, because in the definition it is said that the joint venture of the member of the group of which the other entity is also the member. So J3 is not the member of the group, not the joint venture of the member of the group. So they are not the related party. So in this case, no, they are not related party, because J3 is not the member of the group, because J2 is not the member. As per the definition, parent subsidiary and fellow subsidiary are considered for same class group and other entity of the member of the group of which the other entity is also the member. So S2 is the member, but J2 is not the member. J3 is not the member, because J2 is not the member of the family. J2 is the joint venture of the member of the group. Now S1 and J2, whether they are related, whether S1 and J2 are related. Yes, they are related. How? Because J2 is the joint venture of the member of the entity, of the group member of the entity of which the S1 is also the member. So they are related. So in this case, yes, they are related, because joint venture J2 of the member of the group, that is S3, is also the member of the group, that is S3, of which the other entity is also the member. Now H limited and A1. H limited and A1 is a related party, because H limited is a parent company, and S4 is also the group member of the group. H limited member of the same group includes the parent subsidiary and fellow subsidiary. And A1 is the, so in this case, yes, they are related, because associate A1 of the member of the group of which S4 of which the other entity is the member, that is H limited, is the parent. Now S4 and A2 are related. S4, where is the S4? S4 and A2, they are related? No, they are not related. How they are not related? Because A2 is the associate of A1, of which the A1 is not the member of the family. In the definition, it is written that the associate of the member of the group of which the other entity is the member. So S4 is the member of the family, but A2 is not the member of the group, is not the associate of the member of the group, so they are not the related. So in this case, no, they are not related, because associate A2 is not the member of the group, because A1 is not the member. As per the definition, only parent subsidiary, fellow subsidiary are considered for member of the group of which the other entity is member, that is. So they are not related. S3 and A2, S3 and A2, whether they are related? No, they are not related, because S3 is the member of the group, but A2 is the associate of the A1. A1 is the associate of S4. So it is not the member of that group. So they are not related. So they are not related. S3 and A2 are not related, because A2 is not the member of A, because A1 is not the member as per the definition. So they are not related. Now S3 and J3, S3 and J3 are related. No, they are not related, because the same definition, because they are not in the group. J3 is not the member of the group, same group of the entity, whose the other entity is the group, so they are not related. So S3 and S1 J3, S1 and J3, they are not related. Same definitions, they are not related, because they are not in the same group. S1 A2, S1 and A2, they are also not related, because they are not in the same group. No, they are not related, because associate A2 is not the member of the group, because A1 is not the member. As per the definition, only parent subsidiary, fellow subsidiary are considered, so it is not the member. Firstly, we will discuss the what the close member of the family, that is subsidiaries, fellow subsidiaries, and also the associate or joint venture, who are the associate or joint venture of the member of the group. Member of the group includes parent subsidiaries and fellow subsidiaries. And now the associate also includes subsidiaries of associates, and joint venture also includes subsidiaries of joint. Means if there is an associate and they have a subsidiary of associate, then it is also included in the related party transaction. And if there is a joint venture and there is a subsidiary of joint venture, then they are also in. Suppose H Limited is the H Limited is the parent company, and he has two subsidiaries S1 and S. And S1 is one associate A1, and A1 is having a subsidiary S3. Now S2 is also the subsidiary of H Limited, and he has one joint venture J1. J1 is having a joint venture J2, and J2 is having a subsidiary of joint venture, that is S4. So this is the chart, and now we will discuss case by case whether these members are related with each other, whether these are the related party or not, and what was the reason. So H Limited is the related party of S1. Whether H Limited and S1 are related? Answer is yes, they are related party, because an entity and the reporting entity are the member of the same group, which means which means that each parent subsidiary and fellow subsidiary is related to others. Means each parent subsidiaries are related to, they belongs to the same group. That's why they are related with each other. And the same definition of H1 and S2, they are related because they are the member of the same group. Whether A1 and S3 are related, A1 is the associate of S1. So whether they are included? Yes, as per the definition, associate of S1 means associates of the member of the groups also included in the definition of the related party. So yes, they are related party because they have a direct control, and also S1, S3, whether there is a relationship between S1 and S3. Because, yeah, there is a relationship because as per the definition of the associate includes the subsidiary of associates. So if the associate is included in the definition, that it also includes the subsidiary of associate. But if it is having an associate, then there is an associate, then it is not the related party. But they are the subsidiaries of associates. So they are related with S1. So yes, they are related party because S3, this is the S3 who is the subsidiary of A1, and A1 is the associate of S1. Is the associate of the member of the group. So they are the related party. They are the related party because S3 is the subsidiary of A1 and that is associate, and A1 is the associate of S1. As per the definition, an associate of the member of the group of which the other entity is a member. An associate includes subsidiaries of associates, so they are related. As per the definition, associate includes subsidiaries of associates, and joint venture includes subsidiaries of joint venture, so they are related. Now A1 and S1, whether they are related party? Yes, because as per the definition, they are related party because they have a direct control. Direct control and also the associate of the member of the group of which the other entity is the member. Now comes the joint venture. Here is S2. Whether S2 and J1 is related with each other? Answer is yes, they are related because S2 directly controls J1. So they are related party. J1 and S2, whether J1 and S2, yeah, they have a direct control, so they are the related party. And J2 and S4, whether J2 and yeah, they have a direct control, so they are related party. H Limited and J1. H Limited and J1 are related party. Whether H Limited and J1, yes, they are related party because joint venture J1 is the joint venture of S2. S2 is the member of the group of which the other entity, H Limited, is also the member. So they are related party. Yes, they are related party because J1 is the joint venture of S2, that is the subsidiary, and S2 is the subsidiary of H Limited. And as per the definition, joint venture of the member of the group of which the other entity is also member is the related. Now S2 and J2, whether these are related party? J2 is the joint venture of J1, and J1 is the joint venture of S2. So there is no direct control or direct relationship between them. So they are not related party. They are not related party because joint venture J2 is the joint venture of J1, who is not the member of the same group S2 as per the definition, and they are not the related. Firstly, we had discussed whether the parent subsidiary and the fellow subsidiary are in the same group. Then we had discussed the associate or joint venture of the same are the member of the group of which the other entity is the member. Then we had discussed associate and joint venture includes the subsidiary of associates and subsidiary of joint. Now, the if both the entities are joint venture of the same third group, so whether they are the related party? Yes, they are related party. This is to be explained by example. Suppose H Limited is the holding company and he has two subsidiaries S1 and S2. S1 is having a joint venture J1 and S2 is having a joint venture J2. Whether J1 and J2 are related party or no. So H Limited is the related party of S Limited, that we all know. They are in the same group, holding parent relationship, parent and subsidiaries relationship, and S2 is also related with the H Limited. J1 is the joint venture of the member of the group and J2 is also the joint venture of the member of the group, and S2 is the member of the group, S1 is the member of the group. So the question is whether J1 and J2 are related or not. It is said that both the entities are joint venture if both the entities are joint venture of the same third group. Means if both the entities are joint venture, if both the entities are joint venture and or the group is same, or because this group is in the same group. If it is in the same group and both the entities are joint venture, then they are related party. So yes, they are related party because J1 is the joint venture of the S1, that is the subsidiary, and J2 is the joint venture of the. As per the definition, J1 and J2 are the joint venture of the same third group. Means this is in this group is the because J1 is the joint venture of subsidiary 1, which is the subsidiary of H Limited, and they are in the same group, and S2 is also the joint venture J2 is also the joint venture of S2, who is the subsidiary of H Limited. Ultimately the parent is same, the group is same, so they are in the same group. If the two joint ventures are there and they are belongs to the same group, then they are related party. So they are related party. Then come one entity is a joint venture of the third entity, and other entity is an associate of the third entity, whether they are related. If H Limited is the subsidiary holding company and he has two subsidiaries S1 and S Limited, and J1 is the joint venture of subsidiary 1 and A1 is the associate of S2. So whether joint venture and associate are related to each other, answer is yes, they relate to the same group. These associate and joint venture are related to the same family, same group family, so they are related to it. Now next is the entity is giving the post-employment benefit plan for the benefit of the employee of either the reporting entity or an entity to the reporting entity. If the reporting entity is itself such a plan, the sponsoring employees are also related to the report. This is to be explained by example. Suppose there is a Reliance Industries. Reliance Industries Limited, who is the holding company and also the reporting entity. If Reliance Industries is the reporting entity and he has given the post-employment benefit plan, he has another entity called Reliance Employee Provident Fund Bombay. In this entity, all the employees benefit, like their gratuities, their all they are. These are the decided by the Reliance Employees Provident Fund Industries. Means all the employees provident fund is to be calculated here. They are maintaining the employee data, details, all the financials of employees they are maintaining. Whether Reliance Industries and Reliance Employee Provident Fund are related party? Answer is yes. The entity is a post-employment benefit plan for the benefit of. If the entity is giving, if the Reliance Industries is giving any amount to the Reliance Employees Provident Fund Industries for his employees or the related parties of the Reliance Industries or an entity related to the reporting entity, that industries is also the related party. So they have a relation. Entity is controlled or joint controlled by the party. Now if any entity is controlled or jointly controlled by a person, Mr. A. Control means more than 50% and an ability to direct the activities of the company. Or joint control means two or more parties make an arrangement. If Mr. A has the power to control or jointly control A Limited, Mr. A or the close member of the family control or jointly control B Limited, then whether the A Limited and B Limited are related to each other? Answer is yes. Why they are related? Because in both the cases, Mr. A's family members who are close to Mr. A are jointly controlled or jointly control A Limited and B Limited. So they have the controlling power. So they are related. A and B are related to. If a person controls or jointly controls an entity, that is A Limited, and the same person means Mr. A or his or her close family member controls or jointly controls another entity, that is B Limited, then A and B are also related. They have a common director, but they have a controlling power. The directors must have a controlling power. If the director is having a controlling power, then the close member of the family, the close family member of that director, if they control B Limited, then only in that case also A and B is also the related. Now the entity or any member of the group of which it is a part provides KMP personal services to the reporting entity or the parent of the reporting entity, then they are related to each other. KMP services means the services which is the integral activities of the entity, which is the important part of the activity. KMP are those persons who have the authority and responsibility for planning, for directing and controlling the activities of the entity, whether directly or indirectly, including any directors of that entity. So suppose some of the companies, what they do not do their, suppose some of the services which they do internally, they outsource that to the another corporate entity. Some of the services, like they outsource their financing activity, they outsource their reporting activities, they outsource their human resource management service activities, they outsource that services to the other entities. So whether that entity to whom they outsource, whether they are related to the reporting entity. So this is to be explained by example. Suppose A Limited is having a subsidiary SA Limited and B Limited is having a subsidiary C Limited. So this is to be explained. The entity or any member of the group of which it is a part provides KMP services to the reporting entity or the part of the reporting entity. This is to be explained by example. Suppose KMP service provider, who is the KMP, who provide the service? Suppose A Limited is providing the services to the B Limited, of which the B Limited is only the reporting entity. In this case, A Limited is providing the services to the B Limited. The provider of the service is A Limited. The recipient of the service is B Limited. And reporting entity is also the B Limited. So whether the A and B are related to each other? Answer is yes. They are related party. The entity provides key managerial service to the reporting entity. As per the definition, the entity, here we will not discuss about the element. The entity provides key management personnel services to the reporting entity, then that entity is the related party to each other. Then this is to be explained by example. Suppose SA Limited, who is the subsidiary of A Limited, and it provides any KMP services to B Limited, of which B Limited is the recipient of the service, SA Limited is the provider of the service, and B Limited also the reporting entity. So whether SA Limited and B Limited is a related party? Answer is yes, they are related party, because the entity and any member of the entity, here the entity is the A Limited and any member of the entity means SA Limited is the subsidiary of A Limited, provides any services to the reporting entity. Reporting entity here is the B Limited. So they are related. In this case, SA Limited is the subsidiary of A Limited, provides services to B Limited, where B Limited is the reporting entity, then SA Limited, A Limited and B Limited, all are related parties. The entity or any member of the group, the entity means A Limited, or any member of the group means SA Limited, who is the subsidiary of A Limited, provide any services like key manager services to the reporting entity. Here reporting entity is the B Limited. So they are related party. Now comes another example. Suppose A Limited giving services to B Limited, and where the C Limited is the reporting entity. A Limited is giving services to the B Limited, where C Limited is the reporting entity. Whether they are related party, here what they says, A Limited is giving services to B Limited, providing KMP services, and C Limited is the subsidiary of B Limited, and the reporting entity is the C Limited. So in this question it is written that the entity who is providing key managerial service to the reporting entity. To the reporting entity means C Limited, whether they are providing to the C Limited or the parent of the reporting entity. Here C Limited का parent कौन है? Here C Limited का parent B Limited. तो की managerial service B Limited को दिया जा रहा है और reporting entity C Limited. So parent of the C Limited is included in the definition. So they are related. B Limited are related. The entity or any member of the group of which the part provides KMP services to the reporting entity or the parent of the reporting entity. Another example we will take, suppose the A Limited. A Limited provides KMP services to the C Limited, where B Limited is the reporting entity. A Limited providing services to C Limited, where B Limited is the reporting entity. Whether they are related party, answer is no. They are not related party, because as per the definition it is said that because the service are provided to the subsidiary and the reporting entity is the parent company. Reporting entity is the parent company. Hence, as per the definition, if the KMP services provided to the reporting entity or the parent of the reporting entity. Here the KMP services is provided to the subsidiaries, not the parent. Suppose if the services is provided to the C Limited, where B Limited is the parent, so and the B Limited is the reporting entity. So here if the entity provides any KMP services to the reporting entity, who is the reporting entity? B Limited. और in this case B Limited को अगर KMP सर्विस प्रोवाइड करा जाता, KMP सर्विस प्रोवाइड किया जा रहा, तो उसका पेरेंट एप्लीकेबल होगा, उसका सब्सिडरी एप्लीकेबल नहीं है. तो C Limited तो उसका सब्सिडरी है, इसलिए they are not, who are not related party. Two entities are not related parties simply because they have a common director or other member of KMP in common, or because a member of KMP of one entity has a significant influence over the other entity. If two entities having a common director and those directors is having a significant influence, then they are not related to each other. Common directors, only they are a common directors or the KMP who is having a significant influence, then they are not related. Suppose A Limited, Mr. A is the director having a significant influence and also the KMP, and Mr. A is also the director of B Limited having a significant influence and KMP. So whether A Limited and B Limited are related party, answer is no. They are not related party because they are having a significant influence. They don't have the power. They don't having any controlling power. They don't have any joint control or joint control power. So A and B are not related party. So they are not related. Now two venturers are not related parties simply because they share joint control over joint venture. Means this is to be explained by example. I am taking the practical example which is not yet conducted. This is the recent example. Suppose Vedanta, I am taking the Vedanta and Foxconn who has merged hand to create one joint venture which yet not passed eventually, but they are in process. So Vedanta and Foxconn join hand and create a joint venture to set up a semiconductor fab unit in Ahmedabad. So they are two venturers who create one joint venture. So that joint venture is related to Vedanta also and also the Foxconn. But Vedanta and Foxconn itself, these two parties are not related to each other. They are related with the joint venture, but they are not related with each other. The decision taken by the Vedanta will not influence the decision of Foxconn, or decision taken by Foxconn will not influence the decision taken of Vedanta. So they are the separate. They do not have any related party connection. This is to be explained. Suppose mining conglomerate Vedanta and Taiwanese electronic manufacturing giant Foxconn will make one of the largest ever investment of 1.54 lakh crores in setting up of India's first semiconductor plant in Gujarat. The proportion is 60 to 40 joint venture of Vedanta and Foxconn will set up a semiconductor fab unit, a display fab unit, and a semiconductor assembling and testing units on a 1,000-acre land in Ahmedabad district. So the unit they are setting up are related to both the parties, no doubt. Joint venture which they are creating are related to Vedanta also and the Foxconn. But Foxconn and Vedanta are not a related party. They are not related to each other. Now another example is these are not related parties, like if any bank is providing any finance, they are not related party. Trade unions are not related party. Public utilities, if they are supplying any water, any electricity, they are not related party to the company. Any department and agencies of the government that does not control or jointly control or significantly influence the reporting entity, they are not related parties simply by virtue of their dealing with the entity. Even though they may affect the freedom of the action of the entity or participants in decision making process, still they are not a related party because they are not related to, they don't have a controlling power, they are just supplying they don't interfere in decisions, so they are not related. And the customers who suppliers, franchisors, distributors or general agents with whom an entity transacts and having a significant volume of business, they have having a significant volume, the volume is large, but by simply because of that they are not related party. So they are not related, these are the persons who are not related party. Then we will discuss about the disclosure requirement. What was the purpose of the disclosure requirement and why we will disclose and what we will disclose. Purpose of the disclosure of the requirement is the transparency in the financial statement, and what we will disclose, we will discuss like name and relationship with the subsidiary, associate and joint venture and KMPs. We will disclose the name and relationship with subsidiaries, associate, joint ventures and KMPs. What is mandatory disclosure? Even if there is no transaction, we have to disclose. In case of parent subsidiary relationship, there is a mandatory disclosure even there is no transaction. We have to disclose the name of the parent, its subsidiaries, their relationship, even if there is no transaction during the year. And what other we will disclose? If there is any immediate parent, we will disclose the name of that parent, ultimate parent, and next most second parent if applicable in the notes. So these disclosures are required, and mandatory disclosure only if there is a transaction exists. In some cases, if there is only there is a transaction, then only we will disclose. Otherwise, there is no need to disclose. In case of KMP, if there is any transaction with the KMP, director salary paid, remuneration paid to the key managerial person, then only it's required to be disclosed. Any transaction with associates, joint venture, then only it's required to disclose. Otherwise, there is no requirement. If there is no transaction during the year with these members, there is no such requirement to disclose. But in case of parent subsidiary relationship, if there is no transaction, even if there is no transaction, it is required to be disclosed. And what transaction we will disclose? If an entity makes any financial and non-financial transaction with related party, then the requirement, then there is, then the entity is required to disclose what are the financial transaction, all the transaction, like if there is any sale with the related party, sale to the related party, purchase with the related party, loan given to the related party, loan received from the related party, or any kind of transaction with the related parties. So all the transaction, financial item transaction is to be required to be disclosed, and also the outstanding balance as on the date, as on the reporting date is also required to disclose, and if any benefit given to the KMPs is also required to be disclosed. And non-financial item includes if there is any kind contingent liability with the related party which is of non-financial nature, it is also required to be disclosed. Now, what do you mean by the ultimate parent, immediate parent, or the next most senior most parent, senior parent? Ultimate parent and immediate parent means this is to be explained by example. Suppose H Limited is the holding company, and he has a subsidiary S1 which is a listed company, and he has a subsidiary S1 is having a subsidiary step down subsidiary S2, S2 is having a step down subsidiary S3, S3 is having a step down subsidiary S4, and S4 is having a step down subsidiary S5. In this way, there are 5 subsidiaries. S1 and S2 are listed, and S3, S4, S5 are not listed, they are private. So, next most senior parent. What do you mean by next most senior parent? If the ultimate parent and immediate parent do not prepare CFS for public use, and at least one entity is the listed entity who prepare the consolidated financial statement for public use. So in this case, here who is the ultimate? Here reporting entity in this case is S5, which is the private company, and S5 is the reporting entity. And the immediate parent of S5 is S4. S4 is the immediate parent of S5, and ultimate parent of S5 is H Private Limited, who is the holding company. And who is the next most senior parent? Next most senior parent is must be a listed company, and who required to prepare the CFS for public use. So in these case, the S4 is the private company who is the immediate parent, and he is not listed, and S3 is also the private company, and S2 is the listed company. So listed company must be there, the condition is listed, the company must be listed and also required to prepare CFS for public use. So next most senior parent is the S2, who is the listed company and also prepare CFS for public use. So this is the definition of next most senior parent, who are exempt from the disclosure requirements under Ind AS 24. So exemption is given to the government companies. Suppose the entity, a reporting entity is exempt from the disclosure requirements in relation to the related party transaction, outstanding balance and commitment with, to whom? If the government controls, if the government that controls or jointly controls or having a significant influence over the reporting entity. If the reporting entity is controlled by the government, then that entity is exempt from the disclosure requirement of Ind AS 24. And another entity that is related party, because the same government has the control, joint control or significant influence over the reporting entity and the other entities. Suppose the government is the holding company and the subsidiaries, two subsidiaries S1 and S2 are the reporting entities, and associate 1, S1 is having an associate 1, associate 2, and S2 is also having joint venture 1 and joint venture 2. So they all are exempt from the disclosure requirements because they belongs to the government company. They are in the same group of the government company. So if the government hold or control or having a significant influence over the reporting entity, then that entity is exempt from the disclosure requirements of Ind AS 24. So they don't need to disclose. Now comes the difference between Ind AS 24 and AS 18. What was the difference? There is some difference which we have discussed earlier, but still we are going to discuss. Definition of relatives. What are the definitions of relatives as per Ind AS 24 and as per AS 18? AS 18 use the term relative and AS 24 use the term for relatives, the close family member of that person. And the definition is quite different. In AS 18, the relative means spouse, son, daughter, brother, sister, father, mother, who may be expected to influence or be influenced by that individual in his or her dealing with the reporting entities. So this definition is covered under AS 18, but in Ind AS 24, the close family member, the definition of close family member is something different based on the foreign environments. So the definition is quite modern, you can say. Close member of the family of a person are the one who may be expected to influence or be influenced by that person in dealing with the entity. It includes that person's children, spouse or domestic partner, or brother, sister, father and mother, and children of that person's spouse or domestic partner, and dependent of that person or that person's spouse or domestic partner. It does not restrict to the blood relationship, and hence the definition is quite wider than AS 18. So this is the first definition and difference. Then comes another difference. Another difference is the state controlled enterprises. State controlled enterprises as per AS 18 defines state controlled enterprises as an enterprise which is under the control of the central government and or state government. So in AS 18 there is a definition of state controlled enterprises which is under the control of central government and or state government. And in Ind AS 24 there is an extended coverage of government enterprises, as it defines a government related entities as an entity. Government related entities are those entities that is controlled or jointly controlled or having a significant influence by a government. Further, government refers to a government agency, similar bodies, whether local, national or international. So this is the definition of government, and in AS 18 it defines state government or central government. Now, what was the definition? What was the difference from the perspective of KMPs, K managerial personals? In AS 18 covers KMPs of the entity only, means key managerial persons of the entity only. But in Ind AS 24 covers KMPs of the parent, as well as also covers the entity or any member of the group of which it is a part. Means it also covers the KMP of the company, KMP of the parent company, and also the KMP who are providing the services to the reporting entity or parent of that reporting entity. They are also covered, but this kind of services is not explained in AS 18, so they are not there. Now, related party in case of joint venture. As per AS 18, co-venturer or co-associates are not related party to each other. As per AS 18, co-venturer is there and co-associates are not related to each other. But under Ind AS 24, there is extended coverage in case of joint venture. Two entities are related to each other in both the financial statement if they are co-venturer or one is the venturer and another is associate. If one is the JV and another is the associate, they are related to each other. But in case of in AS 18, two venturer and two associates are co-venturer and co-associates are not related to each other. Clarification of control or substantial interest and significant influence. Ind AS 24 neither defines the term nor it includes such clarificatory text and allowed respective standards to deal with the same. Means there is no such definition about the control, about the substantial interest, about the significant influence in Ind AS 24. There is a respective standard for that. Controls defined under 110, substantial interest, significant influence is defined under Ind AS 28. So there is a particular separate standard for that. In this standard it is not defined. But in AS 18 includes definition and clarificatory text, primarily with regards to the control, substantial interest, including 20% threshold, significant influence, including 20% threshold. So there is proper definition given in AS 18 about the control, substantial interest and significant influence, but that definition does not exist in Ind AS 24. Government related entities, AS 18 presently exempt the disclosures of such information. AS 18 does not say is exempt from the disclosures of government related entities, and AS 24 require disclosures of certain informations by government related entity. They require certain information. They does not fully exempt the information. They require some of the information like name of the government entity, the nature of the relationship. This kind of requirement is there in Ind AS 24, but AS 18 fully exempt the disclosures with the if any transactions with the government. So these are the differences which I discussed. If you like, please subscribe my channel. Thanking you for watching my video.